Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make these scentwork imprinting tubes to help you imprint odor. They're super cool, super easy to make, and they don't cost a whole lot. So let's get right into it. Here is an overview of everything that you're going to need for this project. I will have a list down below of the supplies, but a few important things to note is to make sure that you're picking a screw length that's right for your wood, as well as taking into account the depth of the flange. And I did end up going with a different strainer than you're seeing here. At the time they only had the metal ones, but I did end up going with some PVC ones, which I will show you at the end of the video. Once my boards were cut to my preferred size, I went in with sandpaper and rounded out all the edges to make them smooth. In terms of picking the size, it's really up to you as long as it's larger than the size of the flange. We went with a 10 by 10 just because we had a piece of wood that worked out that way. But the main thing I would recommend is that you do them each individually. That way you're able to move the tubes around and you don't have them all stuck on one board in the same order every time you train. I went ahead and stained all three of these. Not necessary, but I just like the way that stain looks, so that's why I did it. And then I took the fittings and placed each one on top, centered them, and marked the holes with a Sharpie. That way I would know where to drill my pilot holes. The reason that I did pilot holes is to make it easier to line it up. With the pilot holes, you can start each screw in all four of them at the same time, and that way you don't have to worry about it shifting while you're trying to screw them in, as well as the screws going in super straight, which was something that was important to me. And now you're ready to screw your flange onto each one of the boards. Now you're going to need to drill out the hole in the PVC pipe. I'm going to be using a 2.5 inch hole saw drill attachment. I would have liked a 2 3/4, but they only had a 2.5, so I went with that, and it turned out okay. I just took a ruler and I measured to center and marked it with a Sharpie. I enlisted my husband to help drill out the holes, and let me tell you, they were a pain to do. Now the openings of these holes are going to be quite rough just due to the nature of drilling them out. So I went in with some pretty coarse sandpaper and sanded both the inside and the outside, especially because this is where you're going to be rewarding, so your fingers and hands will be around these, and you definitely want to make sure that they're smooth. So this is the finished product. As you can see, I've got the other two back there. So the main tube that has the hole that we cut in the back smoothed out so you can give rewards. It pops off, super easy. This is the other strainer I was talking about. It sits more flush within the flange and it keeps the tube from like rocking around on top. I just didn't like how much it was moving, especially if the dog is putting their nose into it and they knock it and bump it. It makes a lot of racket, which might upset a nervous dog. So I just figured this way, it just fits a lot tighter, doesn't make as much movement and racket, so I liked that better. And then these pop right out as well. And just for an example, I have one of my tins in there This tin doesn't have the holes cut in it, but it's just the tins I use for holding Odor, and it fits right in there. Dog can't get to the tin, but Odor's still released. And then the top. You can clean them because everything's PVC, obviously, except for this. You can make a bunch, you can make 6, you know. But yeah, I found them pretty easy to make. The hardest part was probably drilling out this hole. So I hope you guys make these. I hope this video was helpful if you're interested in making them. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave a comment down below. As always, I will have a link, or not a link, excuse me, I'll have a list of the items that I used to make this down below in the description. And thank you so much for watching.